The Cthulhu Mythos is alive and brimming with all manner of strange people and unspeakable creatures. Some are well known while others are obscure, and we'll be covering all of them. Spoilers ahead for the entire Cthulhu Mythos. The color out of space is an alien life form in the mythos which at first glance resembles a cloud of luminescent, colored vapor. In reality, this life form is composed of neither light or gas, but simply as a color. The color has interesting properties. Plants in its proximity grow large but bear foul fruits, and in time the area around the color will wither away. The same goes for every living thing in its vicinity. Wildlife will take on strange mutations, and with extended exposure, a human can go mad and even expire. When the color has absorbed all the energy from an area, it leaves to find a new source of energy. And this is a very crucial part of eldritch horror. The creature isn't acting out of malice. It isn't here for your soul. It's just here for nourishment, and any kind will do. It's not an evil entity, it's just an extraterrestrial parasite trying to survive. The color out of space first appeared in the 1927 short story of the same name by H.P. Lovecraft. Glaaki, or Glaaki, is a great old one and is believed to reside in the lake in Severn Valley near Brightchester, but it is also said to have been spotted in several other bodies of water. Glaaki resembles a monstrous slug with long pointed spines and 3 bulbous eyes on stalks protruding from its hideous mass. It too, like Cthulhu, is able to communicate with humans through dreams and telepathy. These humans are then lured to the lake or whichever body of water Glaaki resides within, where its process will begin. One of Glaaki's spines will pierce the human's body in order to assimilate them. If the process is interrupted, the human will die. But if the process goes on without a hitch, the human will now be under Glaaki's full influence and bereft of free will. One could argue that this is a poor way of assimilation, but there are some theories that might explain it. Number 1, Glaaki simply isn't as powerful as his counterparts in terms of telepathy, so he has to physically seal the deal to secure any kind of following. And number 2, it might actually be the best tactic. Instead of suggesting people or tormenting them into doing its bidding, Glaaki takes full control. Glaaki first appeared in The Inhabitants of the Lake from 1964 by Ramsey Campbell. The Hounds of Tindalos are immortal beings that reside in angled time, whereas we reside in curved time. It's a bit tough to imagine, but you don't need to just now, just keep it in mind. Although named Hounds of Tindalos, their appearance is utterly unknown, as any human who has stood to encounter them didn't live to speak of them. As many eldritch nightmares, it is said that they possess a bat-like appearance. However, they could look like just about anything. They could be formless, and they could be shapeshifters. There's really no way to tell. Being creatures in angled time, they can only enter our world through corners and angles at 120 degrees or less. This does, however, include every single angle in the vicinity, so you might have trouble trying to find somewhere safe from these things. So why the name? The hounds supposedly only have one purpose: to snuff out those who mess with time. If we were to assume the balance of space-time to be fragile, they might exist as a failsafe. Or they might simply be an extra-dimensional predatory species that can only hunt those who travel through space-time. If we suppose that any kind of time travel leaves a ripple effect through space-time, that could explain the hound's collective ability to sense and hunt their prey. They first appeared in The Whisperer in Darkness by Frank Belknap Long, published in 1931. Father Dagon and his consort Mother Hydra are both enormous fish-like creatures with a presumed worldwide network of colonies of their spawn, Deep Ones. Regarding Dagon, there is a lot of debate as to what exactly he is, but the most agreed upon theory is that he's an enormous and ancient Deep One, since they never stop growing as they age indefinitely, standing around 30 stories tall. Depictions of what's assumed to be Dagon have included large whales being killed by him, or perhaps an older progenitor to Hydra and Dagon. The reports on his actual size vary, especially considering the existence of other mega-ichthyosapien. It is safe to assume that the largest reported sightings are the most credible. Together with Mother Hydra, he rules over the Deep Ones, although Mother Hydra receives a larger following. His first appearance was in the story named after him, published in 1919 and written by H.P. Lovecraft. If you're like me, you spent your off time in your childhood reading outlandish books about obscure and usually occult things, which is exactly where I stumbled upon the concept of fabulous creatures first. These are superstitious accounts of the natives of the lands that were sparsely discovered or even undiscovered. While some theorize that the accounts of the fabulous creatures is a misinterpretation of bonobo apes as a race of humans, there might be more at play. Another source describes them as being native to Sycronosh, also known as Saturn, calling themselves the Blemphroims. The Blemphroims are supposedly a disillusioned race that focus on the practical and material above the spiritual. However, they do speak of deities, like Sathagwa, in solemn respect. Their reproductive cycle is an interesting one. Only one female out of every generation is chosen to mate. The female will then gorge on immense amounts of food that was prepared from a special type of fungus, which isn't unusual seeing as their agriculture is very fungal in nature. Once the female reaches a weight of around 4 to 6 tons, she will then become the mother of a new generation. You would think that they were content with their bodies, but the Blemphroim actually loathe their lack of necks, which is a trait that came about through slow and steady evolution. If you would like to know more, I suggest reading The Door to Saturn by Clark Ashton Smith. That's all for now. Subscribe to my channel to stay up to date on future videos, and I'll see you next time.